In this video, I'm going to answer the question, do calories even matter on keto? Um, so the quick answer, and you can stop this video right after, is yes. So calories absolutely matter, and I'm sure you probably already know that if you're, following my program. But there's a lot of misinformation out there that, calories don't matter and you can get away with eating as much fat as you want. But I'm going to try to give you a little bit of an understanding from my point of view and why I know that that's incorrect. It's something that I've been debated lots of times, that calories don't matter and that it's only hormones, which hormones are very, very important. Going keto really helps reduce our appetite and which reduces calories. Eating whole foods, which we do on this program, reduce it again, increases our satiety and keeps us full longer, and again helps us reduce our calorie intake. Doing intermittent fasting, which means we're only doing 2 meals a day instead of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 meals a day, again reduces our calories. So all these different things, the main effect that they have is calorie reduction. And I know that people teaching these certain things will tell you differently, that there's more to it and it bumps up your metabolism and it does all these things, and they have a big long theory. The answer is no. It doesn't really have a huge effect other than bringing your calorie count down, uh, and reducing your appetite too. So, I just want to be clear about that right from the beginning. And why do I say that? Why am I so sure about that? Well, for one thing, I've been keto for 6 years, which, sure, there's other people that's been doing this for just as long or a lot longer, but that's one thing. So I've done a lot of testing myself. So I've personally been able to gain weight many, many times. I would say at least 3 or 4 times eating keto foods. So not only was I not losing, I did waste a year and a half of my life having bulletproof coffees and fat bombs and all these high calorie foods, thinking, just seeing what I could get away with on keto, because I really truly believe that calories don't matter on keto. I believe that myself, for about the first 2 years. Um, or at least a year and a half. So, and during that time, I went crazy and I was having like 6 stack burgers and bulletproof coffees, like I said, keto desserts, fathead pizzas, lots of almond flour, a lot of calorie dense, really high fat foods. And I was not able to lose weight. And there was periods of time when I've gained weight. So I've gained as much as 10, 15 pounds just by eating keto foods, but I was eating them too often. So I was even snacking on keto foods, and I mean really strict, very, very low carb, near zero carb a lot of times. And it was just overeating, eating too often and eating too much. So, I've done that and I have gained weight personally. So I know that, calories do matter. The weight doesn't just fall off. Getting into ketosis is one thing, and that happens from restricting carbs. But to tap into our own body fat and for weight loss, it really does come down to being in a calorie deficit. And when you're eating less than the calories you're burning every day, you will tap into your own body fat for fuel each and every day, regardless of the scale. So that's why the confusion happens as well, is because the scale weight's always going to fluctuate. We tend to lose a lot of water weight in the beginning, and you could eat 4,000 or 5,000 calories of keto foods in the first few days, and you're still going to see a drop on the scale. So you're going to think you're doing it right. And which is fine to do that, actually. So eating lots of keto foods in the beginning is perfectly fine. To get into ketosis, you can eat as much as you want. So, and you'll see a drop on the scale. But that kind of confirms to people, well, calories don't matter. I had 4,000 calories a day for a few days and I dropped 10 pounds. Well, that's all water weight. You didn't actually burn any body fat during that time. Um, so another reason is I've ran a lot of keto groups on Facebook, and I've worked with, thousands of people as well. I've done free keto challenges and a lot of other things. So I have a lot of experience seeing directly, the results people are getting and what they're doing. So one of the things that, I did something called the bacon experiment back in 2015, where I ate, 2 pounds of bacon every single day for 30 days, and I lost 20 pounds of body fat. So the group is called the Bacon Experiment. If you haven't checked that out yet, or you're not in there, go check it out now. There's almost 30,000 people in there, And so I lost a bunch of weight doing that, and I told people that I was only eating 1,200 calories a day during this. Or no, sorry, I got that wrong. I told people I was eating 2,500 calories a day. And I told them I'm eating more now and I'm losing weight. That's what I said, and I was wrong. I was dead wrong on that. So it actually turned out that after that bacon was cooked and all the fat was rendered off, I was only eating about 1,200 calories a day. So I was in a pretty steep calorie deficit. That's why I was burning body fat, because it wasn't just that initial water weight. I was losing all month long, but it was because I was in a calorie deficit. Um, but more to my point, so that's just an n equals 1. That's just my own experiences. So just from that alone, though, I was pretty convinced that, calories definitely matter. But what started happening is this group took off and lots of other people wanted to do the bacon experiment for weight loss. And it worked amazingly well. So the group's kind of taken off. I think there's almost 30,000 people in there right now as of the recording of this video. And what I started seeing was, there would be some people that would come in and say it's not working, and I would say how long you've been doing it, and they've been doing it a week, and I tell them to do it longer. And people after 2 or 3 weeks, of doing bacon only, getting very frustrated because they're not losing weight. And so I was like, okay, so you're eating the right amount. There was a couple women that this happened to. And I was like, so you're eating 1.5 pounds of bacon every day, weighed before you cook it, like uncooked weight. So the uncooked weight is very important. Doesn't mean you're eating raw bacon, but you're weighing it before you cook it. And they were like, well, I'm eating 1.5 pounds of cooked bacon. And there's a drastic difference. So 1.5 pounds of cooked bacon is 3,000 or 4,000 calories. So, and these people were gaining weight. So they had gained a few pounds. 2 pounds the one lady had gained, and she'd been doing it for like 2 or 3 weeks. I felt awful about that because, she didn't see where we had mentioned very, clearly about the uncooked weight, but that's what it came down to. So she actually, and this happened, I've seen this happen over and over and over the past few years. I've been running the group since 2015. And every single person that wasn't losing weight, it was because they were having, so for men, it's 2 pounds of bacon a day, and they were having 2 pounds of cooked bacon, and then they started gaining weight. And for women, it's supposed to be 1.5 pounds, and so they're having 1.5 pounds of cooked bacon. So just too many calories. They're just eating too much. And this is zero carb, right? Bacon is a really, really low carb. It does work really well for weight loss. The proteins that are in bacon are very ketogenic. I mean, there's a lot of great things about bacon. It does work for weight loss. But if you eat too much, just like any other food, you're going to gain weight. You're not only not going to lose, you're going to slowly gain weight. And that's what happened. So I kept seeing that over and over and over. We changed our PDF and made it very clear. We spelled it out, repeated it. There's a PDF that told people how to do their own bacon experiment. So we had to clarify it. It has to be weighed before you cook it. Makes a huge difference, all the difference. It makes a difference between whether it's going to work or not work. So that was something that really drove the point home for me, is that seeing all these other people being zero carb, like they've got the carbs right, just having protein and fat, a really good, 1-to-1 ratio of fat to protein. So everything, all the ducks seem to be, in line, all in a row. It should be working great. It was just too many calories, just too much food. And that made all the difference for those people. They not only didn't lose, they gained. So I just repeated it so many times there because, I think it's really important. And it's a big point of confusion, misinformation gets put out there. Now, just because I'm saying that calories absolutely matter does not mean that that has to be the main focus. And I actually think it should not be the focus. Why do I say that? Well, we do need to be in a calorie deficit, but that happens naturally. So when we eat whole foods, when we start not only get into ketosis, but more start getting fat adapted, we start regulating all these hormones. And eating these whole real foods, which I consider real whole food to be, and low carb ones to be meat, eggs, seafood, and a lot of non-starchy vegetables. So vegetables that we would not have potatoes, we would not have carrots, we would not have sweet potatoes. But broccoli's okay, and cauliflower, and a lot of the leafy green vegetables, those are ideal. When we stick to those foods, they're really hard to overeat, to the point that we're actually going to eat less than we need for our calorie needs, and we're actually going to tap into our own body fat. Very filling, very satiating foods. And when we do 2 meals a day, the intermittent fasting, it's hard to overeat when you're only having 2 meals a day, because these meals are very filling, very big meals. Keto brings our appetite down, so doing 2 meals a day is actually fairly easy unless you've had a weight loss surgery. And if you have had a weight loss surgery, then you can split the meals into 3 or 4 meals. If you need to divide it up into smaller meals, each of the meals that is in the 10-day challenge, then you can split it into two. So you could have 4 meals a day, for example, and that would work good for you. Because the most important thing, again, is calories. So the meal timing and everything else, they do all have a little bit of benefit. And that's why I stack all these things in here. But the main thing is calorie reduction. And I don't like saying that, because in the keto community, that's almost, heresy. Or it's when you say calories are the main thing that matters, people get very upset. I used to get upset. I used to say, no, keto doesn't work like that. It's all about the hormones and eating more fat. And I would get into big debates, and I'd be sending people links. Well, look at this guy. He did an N=1, and he was having 5,000 calories a day, and he only gained a couple pounds. But when he had carbs, he gained a lot more. Well, when you have carbs, you hold on to a lot of water weight, and it can be 10 or 20 pounds. So you're going to gain a lot quicker. But anyways, I digress. But I was one of the people saying that calories didn't matter. I was one of the people saying you're in starvation mode, and now I know that that's a complete myth. If you undercut your calories, there's no starvation mode. You won't just stop losing weight. That does not happen. If you're in a true calorie deficit day in and day out, then you are burning your own body fat day in and day out. Every day that you're in a calorie deficit, you're burning body fat. So anyways, that's all I wanted to say on this one, and I hope I drove the point home. I just keep seeing this confirmed over and over and over and over. And on the weekend, I just went to a keto retreat, and I was seeing Dr. Westman, and somebody was asking him, how do you break a stall? And I think they were expecting a lot of, different things to try this, try that, add more fat, or whatever they're expecting in response. And he just said, eat less. And I kind of chuckled, because it is that simple. A lot of times it's just eat less, eat a little bit less calories, get things moving again. Now, there are exceptions. There's, thyroid affects things. Medications can affect your weight loss, your day-to-day stress and sleep. So there's a lot of things where it's going to affect the scale weight. But in the end, when you want to burn your own body fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit every day. I'll see you guys on the next video. I hope this one made sense. And I kind of feel like when you're clear on this one point, it really sets you up for success, because I was in no man's land myself for a long, long time. I just couldn't figure all this stuff out. Didn't understand how this fat you're eating is not getting stored. And why it's a free food, which is basically what people were saying. I didn't understand that. How is that even possible? And it wasn't. So it seemed too good to be true, and it was too good to be true. We'll see you guys in the next video.